Check Podcasts.
Thanks for listening to the Donnie and Dolly podcast. Catch the show Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to noon on Check.
I think you're going to want to hear this.
Your local sports coverage lives here.
And the man wearing Dennis Curran's old number 6 makes it 2-0.
With Don Taylor.
I was just going to say, underrated egg, deviled egg.
And Rick Dollywall.
Now you're going to go on the couch at 8 o'clock tonight, sit down and let's put it in.
Here's Donnie and Dolly.
10 o'clock in downtown Vancouver. We're in the Paul Carson studio. Thanks for tuning in, folks. It's Donnie and Dolly, the team on Check. Don Taylor, along with, who are you?
Oh, Ricky D.
It's been a while. Rick Dollywall. Ryan Henderson is our producer. He's the man at the controls, our director. The voice of God is Derek Wong. The gang is back after 9 weeks off. How are you, and how was your summer?
I thought we could have got a couple of more weeks off. I don't think it was long enough, Donnie.
Well, we'll see how today's show goes. Maybe we'll be gone permanently.
The people that rip us for our holidays, you guys got a better. Your wife's a teacher. Our holiday package, Don, is better than the teachers. We get ripped for it all the time, though. Mm-hmm. It's a good thing.
Yeah, for us, it's a good thing. Oh, we hope people missed us. Where did you go? What did you do?
For some reason, I keep going to Toronto every summer. I'm not going to lie to you, Don. I like Toronto. It's a nice place. There's Elliotte Friedman on the left. And there's our good pal, on the right side there. Reed Mitchell. And
used to work for the Canucks. Now he works for the Leafs.
And now he's one of the top Maple Leaf scouts, good pal of ours, listens to our show every day from Toronto. And I had breakfast with these two guys.
Is that all you did in Toronto?
No, I had a party. I did the party. I had breakfast with these two guys.
Well, you were at a wedding, were you?
Yeah, I was wedding. Anyway, so a lot of golf. But I didn't do what you did, and you went overseas. And you know what? That was pretty impressive.
I had a mixed bag when it comes to the holidays, and I'll get to I guess what you call the negative part, maybe later this week. It's a serious subject. But let me talk about the good part and the way it started. I went to Europe. Yeah. I went with our members of my wife and one of my kids. Yep. We went to Europe, Paris, London, Edinburgh, which is just, I tweeted about this. Just amazing. So this is me
picture.
On top of Arthur's Seat in Edinburgh. It's grouse grind like hike. Maybe not quite as difficult as the grouse grind, but man, what a city!
Wow!
It's like going back in time, but you've got all the modern amenities. My grandfather was Scottish, so it meant a lot to me to go there. It was fabulous. We also went to Liverpool, so the Beatles. It's where my mother-in-law grew up as well, and Dublin. But the biggest thing about doing this, and I don't know if you can relate to this because you're quite the world traveler. I know, Ryan, you've been. Is that was my first trip to Europe?
Really?
And so as a result, I am no longer going to get Euro-shamed. If you're at a party or something, you're meeting with a bunch of people, especially when you're my age, and you tell them that you haven't been to Europe, like alarms go off. You haven't been to Europe? You have to leave now. Honestly, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah,
Some people my son didn't grow up with a lot of money. My parents we didn't go to Europe, and I just never ever found the time or had the desire to go.
But now
eventually I got there. But it was I felt like I should have been in jail not going to Europe.
Go. Yeah.
And so now I've gone, and I realize there are a lot of other cities, a lot of other countries to visit there, and other places on the planet. But now I'm no longer going to get Euro-shamed, as I call it, and that's a real positive. Maybe the number one takeaway from my summer. So stop the Euro-shaming. In fact, stop it with me and maybe with everybody. Not everybody wants to go to Europe. Not everybody has the means to go to Europe. So stop with the Euro-shaming.
Yeah, you went to Paris as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Eiffel Tower. You were the guy this summer.
My son and I got off the plane and went right up the Eiffel Tower. We walked, not to the top. It was closed, but the second floor, if you want to call it that. And then we did the same thing the last day we were there.
How impressive is that?
It's just amazing. Yeah, it's just amazing. Great feel, great time. So, the Euro-shaming is over.
It's over. You've been there.
And by the way, look, we talked about this before the show. Everybody talked about you're going to Paris, you're going to France. The people aren't very friendly there. Nothing could be further from the truth. For me, anyway.
Very nice people.
They were tremendous.
Yeah.
They're tremendous. London was a beast. My nephew was there. We toured around. You know what we did? we were in a place called, how long is the show, 2 hours? We were in a place called Earl's Court. That's where we stayed.
Hold on. Earl's what?
Court. Earl's Court.
Earl's Court.
And for you longtime radio listeners in Vancouver, people who used to listen to CKNW, maybe still do, there used to be, I can't remember the name of the host. There used to be a
Philip
segment.
Till.
No, that wasn't Philip Till. Well, Philip's name's not Earl.
Okay,
so
anyways.
there used to be a segment called Earl's Court. Anyway, we stayed there. It's like a fairly short walk away from Stamford Bridge, where Chelsea plays. This was just ad-libbing. We just went there. Wow, what a tremendous tour we had. Now Chelsea's my new favorite
you're going to
soccer team.
You're going to be a tour guide now over there. Holy smokes.
It was tremendous.
Good for you.
Earl Bradford?
Earl Bradford.
Very
good. Not Philip Till.
Okay. I was thinking Philip Till. I know Philip Till. Philip Till's a good guy.
Yeah, but he didn't host Earl's Court.
No, he didn't.
Yeah, Earl Bradford. That's good. Does that come from one of our great listeners?
No, that comes from bcradiohistory.com.
Oh, Googling.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, it's right beside where Chelsea plays, and it was just tremendous. And then you had lunch with Reed and Elliotte in Toronto. And by the way,
golf too. We golfed a lot.
With Elliotte?
Nah, but our buddy there, Clint.
Clint?
Kilhorn.
Okay, here, not in Toronto.
Here, not in Toronto.
Alex Klinman.
Yeah, Klinman. Great guy. He's my neighbor. He's a good guy. Takes us to Morgan Creek all the time.
Yeah. How much was it there?
Very expensive.
Yeah. For me and Alex. Okay. We're so happy to be back, folks.
Yes.
And we're going to get right to it here. The Jake Milford tournament is going on right now. And is it hot today outside?
No.
When I came in today, there was a little bit of a nip
heat
in the
wave
air.
in here.
I'm telling you right now, I don't care how hot it is outside. There's no way it's hotter outside than it is in here right now. What did you do with the air conditioning?
I walked in and it was like a heat wave, Donnie. Just hit us. What's going on? Ryan, what's going on?
We're having some air conditioning issues.
Like we're sweating right now.
Yeah.
This is not good.
Time for another 9 weeks off.
Usually we complain, right? Because usually you like it to be a meat locker in here.
Yes.
Like minus 50.
Yeah.
But kidding aside, I think it's like 27, 28 degrees in here.
At least.
Yeah. So
at least. So the Jake Milford tournament is going on right now out at Northview, and we understand that some players are being made available to the media. So perhaps by the end of the show, we'll have some audio from some of the Canuck players who are out there golfing. It's a great event at a great golf course. Let's get right to it here, because this is the subject, and I'm not sure if he's golfing today. The subject of the last 2 months when it comes to the Canucks, Thatcher Demko and the Canucks goaltending situation. We all saw what happened in the playoffs. He plays the one game. The reoccurrence of the knee injury, or at least another knee injury, misses the rest of the postseason. Artur Silovs takes over. And then it turns out he has a knee issue. But what's the latest on Thatcher Demko?
So, Donnie, the million-dollar question is Thatcher Demko's health. We're just going to have to wait and see on day one of training camp how active he is. Will he be in a group with other goalies or skate by himself? Will he be taking shots? Now, the fact he was skating last week was a positive sign, but lots of work to do before he's 100%. He was not taking shots last week when he was on the ice. Skated twice last week. He is golfing, which I presume, Don.
Today he's golfing?
Not today, but somebody said they saw him golfing last week, which I think is a good sign.
Who's somebody that saw him golfing?
I'm telling you, the people, he was golfing at the tournament, the Canucks
Red
Hamilton tournament. So some people are saying that, which I think is a good sign. He's being more active. Preseason games, Don, and the regular season opener, not sure about that right now for Demko. But here's the thing. Why rush this? He's your starting goaltender. He's coming off back-to-back knee injuries. There are some who feel he was rushed last year to play in the playoffs, Don. Did Demko have a medical procedure this summer? Some think he had his knee scoped, but no one's confirming that. I've been told this on Demko. He's making progress. It is slow and it is steady. That's the best way to describe it.
Why would they be so quiet when it comes to a procedure?
Because then we are in Vancouver. This is a hot Canadian market. Whether he had the procedure or not, then everybody freaks out.
Well, everybody's freaking out now because they're not disclosing any information.
his rehab was a lot slower in mid-August, but the fact he hit the ice, and by the way, he hit the ice last Tuesday morning before 20 Canuck players hit the ice. Ian Clark was on the ice with him. So, look, it's wait and see. As Jim Rutherford said last week, wait for the medicals. Wait to see him on first day. I think he'll do some work on the ice, but I'm not so sure he'll do it with other goaltenders, Don. I don't know if he's there yet. I know he's not ready to take shots yet. That's a big thing. Going up and down on your knees for a goaltender, not there yet. Side to side, I think he's okay.
Well, of course,
there's just a lot of work to do before he is the old Thatcher Demko 100%.
September 19th in Penticton, that's when training camp opens for the Vancouver Canucks. So was he not handled well? Okay, so let me go back.
Rushed?
Let me go back.
Was he rushed? I think he was
Ian
rushed.
Clark has been reassigned within the organization. Yeah. They have a new goaltending coach, right? But Ian Clark is still there. Artur Silov's also with knee issues. And I'm going to ask this, right? But with Ian Clark, I mean, is that a punishment that he gets reassigned within the organization, or does it have to do with what everybody's heard, his own health?
Ian Clark went to the Canucks. The Canucks didn't go to Ian Clark. Ian Clark went to the Canucks and said, "I've got issues with my knee and my shoulder. I don't want to do the on ice every day with the goaltender." So that was Ian Clark. The Canucks did not push him out. He's got 2 years left on his contract. I don't think he wanted to become a scout. I think he wanted a higher role, than being relegated to a scout. But I do believe that had nothing to do with the Canucks. That was Ian Clark that went to them and said, "Hey, I need to back off on going on the ice so much."
Mm-hmm. Is he getting some of the blame? Do you know?
Yes, he is. There's people that believe that Demko was pushed too hard to come back in the first game in Nashville, and he gets hurt first game against Nashville. So there's feelings out there that he's been rushed, and feelings over the years he's been overplayed in Vancouver. Now the Canucks, if they let Casey DeSmith go, and I think that was a mistake, and that's why they're out there trying to get another backup goaltender right now, Don. And whether they get him or not, I don't know. But if they would have just got Casey DeSmith done again, they wouldn't be in the pickle they are today. I'll tell you that much.
Well, it was clearly the wrong decision, and it's easy for me to say right now. Easy for anybody to say. Hindsight is 20/20. Because they win they start with Demko and they end up winning the series with DeSmith and then eventually Artur Silovs
came in.
So had they started with one of those two other goaltenders other than Demko, you'd think they'd still win the series, and Demko might not have hurt himself.
Now they don't want to pay much for a backup goaltender. They're trying to do what they did with Spencer Martin, and that didn't work. Is pay a goaltender less than $1 million to be the backup. Didn't work last time, and they want to try it again.
Yeah, so they have, though, Yuri Patera.
Yep.
2 years, a two-way deal.
Yep.
The goaltenders, though, that they might be interested in right now that could be available or are available.
So the Canucks are still pursuing UFA goaltender Kevin Lankinen. The Canucks have made him an offer. It's under $1 million.
Nashville guy.
Oh, Nashville guy, yeah. So the Canucks offer is under $1 million. It's not good enough because Lankinen made $2 million last year in Nashville. He's not going to take under $1 million. The Canucks don't want to spend much money on the backup. They don't want to put Tucker Pullman on LTIR, Donnie, to get the goalie. They want to keep that money for the trade deadline. One more guy. Canucks have called the agent for UFA goaltender Antti Ranta. They offered a PTO, but that's not what the player is looking for right now. I think he's looking for a contract, but those things can change as the pressure points come up for all these UFAs without deals done. Training camp around the corner. But right now, Antti Ranta has told the Canucks that he is not, does not want to, as of right now, does not want to accept a PTO.
All sorts of items to deal with in today's show. A lot to do with the Canucks. We want to talk about Brock Besser's situation. Of course, missing part of the playoffs last year, the blood clotting issues. Daniel Sprong, a signing that took place after we left for holidays. Yep. Sammy Blais, Vasily Podkolzin goes to Edmonton. So let's, we'll do that as the day, maybe in the next segment. As a matter of fact, we also want to talk about what the BC Lions have been up to. That event in Victoria, and I know they won a big game last week in Montreal against the very good Alouettes team. But that event in Victoria, Touchdown Pacific, looked just absolutely I know there was some issues with lineups for beer. There always seems to be
washroom
in
lineups,
the washroom lineups.
yeah.
There always seems to be issues with that, and they know that. And next time around, that they hope that won't happen. But the way it looked on television, and everybody I know that went had just a fabulous time.
City
and they won.
Victoria, what a great job. Boy, did they ever do a great job. And now the Lions are going to have to do this again because of the World Cup. I don't know if they're going, Donnie, back to Victoria, maybe Kelowna. I don't know. But they have now got a decision to make. But they do now know, the Lions, that going to these smaller communities, it can work. The only thing that sucks is that attendance 14,000. If you can
which was a sellout, by the way.
Well, if you can get if you can push up the attendance to 20-25 in some of these smaller communities, it would be massive.
Ryan has some information on the Whitecaps played to a scoreless draw against Dallas on Saturday. That's later on the show. Here's what else is coming up. And again, so happy to be back, folks. Is It Just Me coming up in the next hour, in the 11 o'clock hour, along with DTMZ. All sorts of news in the entertainment realm when we were off. Elliotte Friedman is going to join us from Hockey Night in Canada and the 32 Thoughts podcast. Who's he having lunch with today? We don't know. He's in Vegas,
He's in Vegas. He just touched down 10 minutes ago.
So Elliott's going to join us just after 11 o'clock. Big Rye, the Twitter guy, coming up later this hour. Also, Ross Tucker from CBS Sports. He's becoming one of the best football analysts out there. He was so good working the Bills and Cardinals yesterday, the Ross Tucker Football Podcast, Westwood One. He's going to join us a couple of segments from now. Up next, we're going to introduce the poll question. It has a whole lot to do with the Canucks, some more Canuck news. That's coming up next. We're so happy to have you back, folks. We had ourselves a great time off, great vacation. And again, happy to be back. Thanks so much for tuning in. Donnie and Dolly, the team. On check.
Donnie and Dolly, the team is supported by ableauctions.ca. Closing your business? We can help.
Poll question, Waddling Dog poll question. Visit one of Victoria's favorite pubs where you can enjoy 20 taps and 20 screens. You're home for the Canucks and UFC. Come, sit and stay at the Dog today. Poll question, Rick, it has to do with the subject we tackled in our first segment.
Absolutely, Ryan. Get her up. I'm going to say it for the first time. Get her up. Our Waddling Dog pub poll question is Thatcher Demko's durability, the Canucks' number one concern heading into the season. It's not 50-50. It tells you exactly how important this story is. 91% say, his durability is a concern right now. He's coming off back-to-back knee injuries, Donnie, and he's not ready. We don't know if he's going to be ready for the regular season opener. It's up in the air. It is definitely a concern.
Well, this is a team that I think a lot of people, and look, we read things on the internet, we hear things on the NHL Network. A lot of people think the Canucks can really make some noise after the progress they made last season. They've got a Vezina Trophy finalist,
absolutely,
on their roster, and his health is a concern, of course. And for some reason I thought that the poll wouldn't be that one-sided. But second thought, obviously this is the number one concern. You've got this stud in goal, and you don't know if he's going to be completely healthy to start the season, and you don't know how healthy he's going to be when you look at the entire season. Yeah, of course it's a huge concern.
And people don't realize, the stories out there are that the Canucks are looking for a PTO goaltender. But what people don't realize, they have made an offer to Kevin Lankinen. If Lankinen wakes up tomorrow, Don, and says, okay, I'll accept the Canucks offer, then what? So what happens then? He comes in, you bump Seelovs to Abbotsford, and now you got a logjam there. You got 3 goaltenders in Abbotsford. The preference is to have a PTO, but you got to remember that they made an offer, and they've been after Lankinen for a while. He's their number one target. There's no question in my mind, Don.
So he would be, I guess he'd be looking for a 1 year, probably a one-way deal.
Yeah.
So he's not going down to Abbotsford. But how does Seelovs take that after being pretty impressive last season, just in the playoffs?
Hey, you're the king of telling me this. How does Vernon Adams feel right now? Nathan Rourke comes in. And
that's business, I guess, right?
It's business. It's business. And pro sports is all about...
Is Lankinen that much better than Artur Seelovs?
I think
more experienced.
He made $2 million last year, and he's had 2 really good years in Nashville. Lankinen has. So we'll see how that ends up. I don't know if he'll ever accept the Vancouver offer, but it's there for him.
What's more likely, Lankinen or Antti Ranta? Or who's more likely to come to Vancouver?
Time will tell. Well, I can't handicap it. How Lankinen?
Well, what's your gut feeling?
So my gut feeling is they really like Lankinen, and they really want him. But
why is that a bad question?
It's not a bad question. I didn't say it was a bad question. What I said was I don't have a good read on this. As you get closer to camp, these guys are going to have to, what's the old saying, Don? Get off the, what it is. But anyways,
Blank or get off the pot.
That's it. That's the saying. Because, listen, training camp's coming. These guys either have to accept the PTOs or they have to accept contracts.
But meanwhile, they've got Patera, who's on a two-way deal.
Patera's on a two-way. They got Tolopilo. Don't forget Tolopilo, too.
There's a lot of goalies there.
I
think they've got enough. But all this will go by the wayside if Thatcher Demko is healthy. Okay, what about what you talk to a lot of people? What about the thought that Thatcher Demko is fragile? He's injury prone.
Well, he's back to back, Donnie. What do you want? What do you want us to say? He gets hurt at the end of the year. They bring him back for the playoffs. First game, gets hurt again. I mean, you hope. You were hoping that this summer he just had a really good rehab, got working, training, and everything. It looks like rehab this summer was a lot slower than everybody expected, and now he's coming back slow. There is progress.
Well, that's probably a good idea. Maybe one that they probably would have been a good idea in the spring.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. So why push him?
When they were playing.
So, Donnie, why push him now? Just get the guy.
Well, because you learn from your mistakes of the past,
mistakes, yes,
right?
Yes.
Brock Besser, what's happening there?
Oh, boy, Brock Besser's a UFA. Where's that? You got the clip, Ryan? Yeah. I wanted to show that from Strang.
This is two tweets. As Donnie mentioned, Jake Milford golf tournament happening in Northview in Fleetwood today. So the players are speaking to the media. This is two separate tweets. You want me to just read it? Or
you go ahead. You go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead.
This is from Brock Besser.
Smooth.
First of all, he's off blood thinners and has resumed contact training. It will be a situation to monitor throughout the season. The forward says that he will need to be careful on flights this year. Can wear compression gear and use Normatec to help. I don't know what Normatec is. But anyway.
What's Normatec, Donnie?
I'm not a doctor.
We'll get our best
Is it
people.
medicine?
No, I don't know.
It's it got something to do with gear, Normatec.
Maybe we should stop guessing. How about we look into it?
Okay,
the other thing is about his contract. The other piece of news is about his contract. That's the tweet at the top. Besser says he's going to let the contract negotiations with the Canucks play out as he enters the final year of his deal. Here's the quote coming off the blood clot. I think I got a lot to prove. Of course, Brock had a great,
40 goals.
Fantastic season.
Not only the 40 goals, but he had 7 more in the playoffs, and I believe he scored 4 after he broke his finger in Game 3 in Nashville in the practice where Miller hit him with a shot. There was no contract talks between the Canucks and Besser this summer. Here's the deal with Besser. 40 goals last year, top playoff performer. He's got good numbers, UFA at the end of the year. It is very, very dangerous, Don, if the Canucks are going to wait, and they're going to wait and wait on Besser. I don't have a problem with them waiting until Christmas and saying, okay, are you going to score 40 again before we give you 7, 7.5, and 8? But the longer this goes, and the longer it goes, and if he continues to light it up with goals, he'll get over 8 million. And the other one for you, Don, is they also need to know, the Canucks need to know where Lekkerimaki is. Is he close? Is he close to getting, can he do it this year or show signs of being there next year? I really believe that the Canucks would really like to get a good grasp on knowing where Lekkerimaki is before they go and give a long-term deal to Besser.
Because we've said on the show before, when you look at Lekkerimaki, a right-handed winger with a pretty good shot, he seems like somebody who could fill the Brock Besser role.
That's it.
So you don't want it. Maybe you don't want to be redundant, right? Yeah. So why give Besser a whole bunch of? Even though he got 40 goals last year, and there's a whole lot of respect there, given everything he's gone through. Do you want 2 of them? Yeah. Right? So if Lekkerimaki shows promise, obviously that could weigh into things. By the way, Normatec compression therapy products, and you look at a lot of these things, it looks like something out of RoboCop. right?
Hold a second. You got to wear that whole thing?
Yeah, you have these on right now, Dollywall. So you tell us how this is
No,
going.
but-
Yeah,
So
and you don't have any blood clotting issues. You just like the way they look.
Can you tell me what this is? This looks
I
weird.
just said compression therapy
Yeah.
products.
So you sit in it and you push a button and what happens?
Well, I guess you put it on one boot at a time. And
I think it's essentially a hyperbaric chamber kind of idea that you wear. Right?
But you're not telling us what it does.
It's all about
prevention of blood clotting.
Yeah, it's probably about moving your blood, nerves.
Probably heated and stuff like that.
We've done a great job explaining it. That I could say for sure.
Well, at least I thought it might have been pills. So
Yeah.
we've gone past that. Okay. Anything else on Besser?
No.
You want to see him stay, don't you?
Absolutely.
As a
but-
Canuck fan, I know it's business. I get all
Like,
that, but
you
he's
can't
been through
just
a lot
pay
here.
everyone
He's
in-
just so
he-
popular.
I know, but,
he
like-
gave my kid a stick.
See,
Okay?
this is what it always comes down to something. You don't like Pedersen because the way he looks. He looks good.
Oh.
So you don't like him. You're
So
jealous
you don't
of him.
think Brock
You
Besser's a good-looking guy?
Yeah, but he gave your kid a stick, so that trumps everything. He could be the most hideous man
And by
in
the
world.
way, it was one of those things where your kid got one because you're a member of the media.
Yeah.
No, my kid was just at a warm up, had a sign. Besser gave him a stick.
No, the interesting thing is you actually said to Brock, hey, you know who I am? And Brock went, no, I don't.
Well, that's most of the people in Vancouver.
You haven't said 11.5 yet. I'm very impressed.
11.6 actually.
Yeah.
Is it 11.6 or 11.5? 11.6?
We'll get to that, I'm sure. 0 goals in December. It'll happen.
Oh,
I'm
yes.
just kidding. That's not going to happen.
No.
Okay. Up next, first of all, Elliotte Friedman is going to join us at 11 o'clock. Big Rye coming up later this hour. And up next from the Ross Tucker Football Podcast.
Abel first. I know you're a little rusty, but...
This is unbelievable. You
did
never
say
told me
Abel.
this.
Yes, I did.
He did.
Oh, Rick's actually backing me up. Wow, this
He
is a
said
new
Abel
season.
during the break. He said, get Abel in.
The quarterback matchups in the NFL right now, just amazing. Mm-hmm. Starting out with Mahomes and Jackson on Thursday, just tremendous.
A Dallas-Cleveland game. Quarterback play.
Stop
Fantastic.
it. Stop it. September 17th, Abel Auctions will sell the contents of a closed, multifaceted print shop. September 18th, Abel Auctions will sell commercial restaurant equipment and an inventory of brand new kitchen appliances, including a $20,000 Smeg Designer oven. A Smeg Designer oven. September 19th, Abel Auctions will sell industrial equipment, including storage containers and mini excavators. For information on these auctions and a whole variety of other auctions, go to ableauctions.ca to get your business assets sold at auction. Email sales@ableauctions.ca. Sales at ableauctions.ca. Ross Tucker on the NFL next. Donnie and Dolly, the team on check.
The Bayside Resort is a boutique luxury resort like no other, nestled on the bluff above beautiful Parksville Beach. This beautiful oceanfront property prides themselves on offering a uncompromising fusion of West Coast authenticity and bespoke luxury. Their guests have come to expect a truly personal experience where all senses are indulged, the setting is gorgeous, the memories last a lifetime. Whether you're looking for a panoramic ocean view or an on-site fitness center, indoor, outdoor pool, oceanfront restaurant and lounge, high-speed internet access, or the perfect place for your next corporate event. The Bayside Oceanfront Resort, the perfect choice any time of the year. Call 250-248-8333 and book your stay today.
Oh, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. All of our guests today on this Monday are sponsored by Basant Motors. We are back, and so is Basant Motors. So is Basant Motors Scholarship. Who wrote this? Bigger than ever, with $33,000 in scholarships awarded. Learn more at basantmotors.com. After that read, I am no longer eligible for a scholarship. As we bring in from the Ross Tucker Football Podcast, CBS Sports and Westwood One, he worked the Bills and Cardinals Sunday in Buffalo. Our friend Ross Tucker. Long time no talk to Ross. How are you, sir?
Awesome. How are you guys doing? Nice to see you. Nice to talk with you. It's been a while.
Yeah,
Nice to see you.
Right back at you. How are you? How was your annual ski trip?
I am fantastic. The ski trip was wild because it was, I want to do the math right. I think it was 13 straight days of skiing.
Ooh.
and I held up pretty well, I would say, till like day 10 or 11, and then I had some pretty bad patella tendonitis, and I just kept skiing anyway. I'm like a bell-to-bell guy, right? So right when they open it, I'm there. I ski all day until it's closed. Then I go and I have a terrific après ski and meal, and then I go to bed early. And believe it or not, I actually work out in the morning.
Oh my gosh.
Before I then go ski all day. So I think I did 5 days in Vail with my high school buddies, including half a day Sunday morning before I flew to Utah. Did what was it, like 8 days in Utah, which was awesome. The answer is it was awesome, but I've had to do like some rehab and stretches ever since because evidently that's a lot on your quads to ski at 260 pounds for 13 straight days for 7 hours every day.
Wow. All that physical activity explains why you're looking so good and sounding so good yesterday. Bills and Cardinals. Bills end up winning that game 34-28. They had to come back to do that. Where are they at? Where's Josh Allen at? Where are the Bills at as a team that might contend for a Super Bowl?
I think they're pretty much where they have been. I really do. I mean, I know they don't have Stephon Diggs anymore, but I think they still have enough at receiver. You know, Khalil Shakir was highly efficient last year, and he made some impressive plays yesterday. I mean, the one touchdown where he kind of like corkscrewed his body in. He had another catch, critical play where he bounced off a defender. Shakir has some unique ability. They really have something there with Khalil Shakir. And then I think the offensive line's fine. The defense is a little bit more concerning, right? Because Matt Milano is out for a while. They've got 2 new safeties. And then the thing to keep an eye on is Taron Johnson, their nickelback, who went out early in the game yesterday. He's arguably the best nickel in the league. So to not have him, that would be a huge loss. I mean, you can argue that Taron Johnson and Matt Milano are their 2 best defensive players. So that would be big. But Josh Allen is just so fun to watch. I mean, we got the whole experience, right? We got the 2 rushing touchdowns, 2 passing touchdowns. I guess I read somewhere where he's done that 4 times now. Nobody else has ever done that, which is cool. He was like flying through the air, but he also had a fumble. I mean, that's the Josh Allen experience.
Hey, Ross, Tyreek Hill, my goodness, gets detained, released by the police on his way to the game. You know, he's dealing with that. Then he gets in the game, 80-yard touchdown, 130 yards receiving. I can't imagine what was going through his head. It's hard enough to prepare for an NFL game, Ross, without going through what he did. Were you surprised he did as well as he did?
No, not really. I mean, he's an unbelievable player. He had done everything during the week to prepare for the game. I guess I'm more curious about hearing about just how long he was detained.
Yeah.
And the thing that's troubling to me about that is, you know, Tyreek Hill has a history, and people can think whatever they want about Tyreek Hill based on that history. That's fine. Calais Campbell also has a history. And that history is being the Walter Payton Man of the Year in the NFL. And evidently he said after the game that he was handcuffed as well when he came and saw Tyreek Hill and he tried to de-escalate the situation. He got handcuffed as well. That is concerning to me. I don't know what the process is there. Maybe that's just standard operating procedure if someone's comes over while someone else is being detained. I don't know, but it sounded like those guys all had, you know, cameras on, body cams. So I think there'll be a lot more information coming out because the Calais Campbell part's the one that especially troubles me.
Hey, Ross, the Seahawks, not a great first half, good second half. You got the new head coach, Mike McDonald, new coordinators, the whole 9 yards. What are your views on this team? Talk a little bit about the win over Denver, but what do you like about their offseason moves and what they can do this year?
I think the Seahawks are pretty much – it's funny because I don't know. I mean, there's teams I won't say this about, but there's a bunch of teams that I feel like in week 1 at least – to use the Dennis Green line, they are who we thought they were. Yeah. I mean, the Seahawks offensive line had its struggles. We saw that with the two safeties. But then credit to those guys. They run block better in the second half for Kenneth Walker. We know they've got good receivers. Geno Smith had that nice long run. That's a part of his game I feel like that's a little bit underrated, and he deserves some credit for his ability to make some plays with his legs. And I think the defense is kind of just okay. They were able to turn over Bo Nix a couple times. He struggled when he was driving the ball down the field. I think the Seahawks are a league average team, would be my guess. The question is now whether Geno Smith can make enough plays and the head coach Mike McDonald can do enough to get them the 9 or 10 wins so that they're in the mix of going to the postseason as opposed to 7 or 8 wins. Because I think they're in that range.
Talk with Ross Tucker. Ross, Tom Brady works his first game for Fox as an NFL analyst. All sorts of criticism, some praise on social media. I thought he was just fine. What advice would you give him? I don't know, maybe he's reached out to you, I'm not sure. But what advice would you give him? And what can you tell people about that job that they might not know?
Number one, it's a lot harder than you think. I think it's a lot easier than people it's a lot easier when you're sitting on the couch and saying, I would make this comment right now. I'd say this right now. I saw this. That's a lot easier than when you're actually there and you have a bunch of monitors and you have a producer in your ear and they're telling you what replay they want to show. And by the way, there's 22 guys on the field. So, you're not necessarily always looking at the same thing as everybody else. I mean, that's kind of the art to it. So that's number one, is that's probably a lot harder of a job than people realize. I'm not worried about that part of it with Tom or the preparation, because I'm sure in fact, he was probably over-prepared. He probably prepared so much that he had so much information that what actually is the key then as a broadcaster is you have all this information. It doesn't matter unless you make sure that you say the important things that you have, the things that you really think are important to mention, and or if you have this information when that play happens in the game, and it may or may not happen, but when it happens, that bam, you're ready, and that's the time when you can drop that information that you had prepared going into it. I was driving back from Buffalo to my house in central Pennsylvania. I didn't get a chance to hear 1 second. So I can't really comment on from my perspective other than I'd be scared to go back and watch my first game. Now, thankfully, my first game was not the Cowboys and the Browns.
Yes.
It was Penn Yale. Although I will say this, Penn Yale was a big game that year in 2007. And it went to triple overtime, so I was hooked as a broadcaster. I was like, this is amazing. Triple overtime, like these kids are crying. I was like, I was sold on being a broadcaster that day, my first game ever on TV.
What do you think is harder, being an NFL analyst or hosting a show like this one?
Yeah.
Well, I can tell you the hardest of those three would be being a college football analyst. Because
you don't know as
week one, I'm doing UCLA, Hawaii. I didn't know any players for UCLA and Hawaii, or not many at least. I knew a couple. And then, by the way, there was probably Hawaii had 69 guys in the pronunciation guide. UCLA had like 35. A lot of Polynesian names. I mean, you can't get that wrong in prime time on CBS, Rick. You can't do that. And so I would say your job seems pretty easy. I mean, you sit there. Rick already has his questions written down like 3 segments in advance. During the commercial break, Rick looks to see if the Canucks, signed a new guy to send down to the AHL, or if anything's happening in junior hockey. I mean, there is no job easier than you guys. So.
I got to text agents all day, Ross. I got to text agents all day. Get the information. Come on.
I have a question, Rick. Yeah. I believe that, right? Like, I believe that that's a huge part of your job.
Yeah.
Do you like it?
Oh, I talked to one this morning at 6 o'clock. I got in the car right away. Called him.
No, I mean, do you like your job? Do you like that aspect of your job?
Oh, I love it. I just sit on the couch. I text these guys for info all day. They help me out. It's great, Ross.
Yeah,
It's
the big takeaway there was sitting on the couch.
The cell phone. Greatest invention, Ross. I get to text people in Sweden, Finland, Russia. It's great.
Yeah, none of them have anything to do with your job. But, hey, Ross, very quickly, Dak Prescott, is he worth $60 schmil a year?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, with the way today's NFL is and what the salary cap is, if you can get top 5 quarterback play, I mean, let's just say there was no salary cap. How much you think like David Tepper, the owner of the Carolina Panthers, would pay for top 5 quarterback play? I mean, and then we can go right down the line. Tennessee Titans, I mean, there's a bunch of teams that if you said you can have Dak playing the way Dak has played the last couple of years, for the next 10 years, they would pay a lot of money because it changes everything. It changes every aspect of an NFL organization. They're more important than the head coach, the GM, the owner. Nothing moves the needle on an NFL franchise like the starting quarterback.
Great to have you back, Ross. Thanks so much. Great to hear that you had a good time off and great listening to you yesterday. Thanks so much, my friend.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
You bet. Ross Tucker, CBS Sports, Westwood won. Again, worked the Cardinals. The Bills won. And Bills yesterday in Buffalo. Jets and 49ers tonight. Aaron Rodgers versus Brock Purdy. And by the way, the Seahawks, after that win yesterday, they're in New England next weekend. That's it. We're going to take a break now. Big Ride the Twitter guy. Next, Donnie and Dolly, the team on check. Able Auctions specializes in helping British Columbia-based business owners close their business and sell their assets in a timely, orderly manner.
Online events for everything from machine shop and manufacturing auctions to industrial equipment, retail inventories, or any other type of business assets. Able Auctions can help.
For a free confidential consultation on getting your business assets sold, please email sales@ableauctions.ca. That's sales@ablaauctions.ca. Time for Big Ryan, the Twitter guy, after 9 months off.
Yes.
9 weeks off.
Yeah. Felt like 9 months. It was a good break. I enjoyed it.
Well, a lot of people will see.
Can you talk? Hello? Yeah, did you unplug your mic? Can you not hear me? I can't hear you. Nina?
You're about to take 9 months off.
Can you do me a favor because I can't go over there? Can you see if his...
No, don't.
It's unplugged, isn't it? Yeah. Dude, first show back and you're not plugging your mic. You've unplugged your mic.
Hey, Rick Dollywall unplugged.
Yeah, this is great. You've never sounded better.
Available
we still can't hear
AMD
you.
sound.
We still cannot hear you. So, I'd love for you to try. Nina's now going to try and help you out because God knows you will not be able to do it, even though it's one little thing you got to plug in. Anyway, okay, let's. We've got. This is unbelievable. Look at this.
Oh.
It is plugged in. Okay, so then that's a bigger concern. I don't know what you've done.
Show's never sounded better.
Yeah. We'll look at it in the break.
Okay, go.
Take this
I'll take a
segment
look.
off. Okay, we got a backlog of photos. We got 1 million photos. Donnie can take a look. He's got a ton of expertise. A backlog of photos we got to get to from over the summer break. First of all, this is K-Man. Okay, K-Man's on the right. His buddy Jack's on the left. In the middle is my good pal, Ian Radnich, Team BC. I've showed K-Man and Ian before, but Team BC over the weekend, the U17 Team BC men's program won the Alumni Cup in Calgary over Labor Day weekend, and K-Man sent this photo. He's got the Donnie and Dolly shirt on. His buddy Jack's got the Sports Page shirt on, so we appreciate this photo from beautiful Calgary. Again, my good pal Ian Radnich in the middle, lacrosse coach extraordinaire. This is such a disaster, and it's day one with the Alumni Cup over Labor Day weekend. Okay, now, moving on. Another photo. We got
Can
more.
we hear him yet?
No, we still can't hear him. And we can barely hear you. Now, you got to fix your mic.
Hello.
This is such a disaster. Anyway, okay, we're going to move on here. Look at this. This is, I want to get this correct here. Okay, this is Davis. Hold on, Derek.
What happened to Radnich? I went to school with one of his...
With Randy. Yeah, we've covered that before. Where did my photo go? Oh, here it is. No, where did my photo go?
This is getting worse.
By the minute.
This is what happens when you take...
We still can't hear you, Rick, so you can keep talking, mate. We're not going to be able to hear you. Okay, this is...
Go underneath the desk and try to fix it. There's one cable that's missing here.
This is three...
Right?
This is Davis...
That's not connected.
We got another photo to get to. Pay attention. Davis, Derek, and Jeff in Langley, okay? This was on their way to Victoria for the Lions Touchdown Pacific game. This Davis sent the photo in because my good pal Marcus hooked them up with Donnie and Dolly hats, the three of these guys.
These are all people that you know.
No,
it's
Rick,
not
keep
what it's supposed
talking.
to be like.
No, I don't know these guys. I've never met these guys. But we're headed. We're going to talk. We're going to talk more with the Lions later on in the show. Victoria, the big success, Touchdown Pacific, Nathan Rourke's back in the fold. You'll talk about it more later in the 11 o'clock
I'm trying to figure out what I'd rather have right now. Rick's microphone on or the air conditioning working?
Air conditioning for sure.
I think I'd go with the air conditioning.
Are you kidding me? It's not even close. Okay, so that is thank you to
more friends of yours,
Davis, Derek, and Jeff in Langley for supplying this photo as they headed over to the Touchdown Pacific game. Now, this is Maureen and Bob. One final photo here. Maureen and Bob. Look at this. They were in a river.
Maureen and Bob?
Maureen and Bob. Yeah, what did I say?
It sounds like you said Marine Bob. Like that was her name.
No, Maureen and Bob. Rick, keep trying. They were on
Just scream. That's all. We'll hear you. Okay?
They were on a
Just
river
scream.
cruise in France. How about that? And they still took their Donnie and Dolly merchandise with them over the summer. The bucket hat, the Donnie and Dolly firefighter T-shirt as well. So thank you, Maureen and Bob from Victoria. They are loyal viewers of this program. Sorry?
Are they on the Seine?
I'm not sure exactly. They were on a river cruise in France. That's what it says in the email.
Okay.
So thank you for providing this photo. We really appreciate it, and they were excited about our return.
Just do hand signals.
Yeah, can you do a sign language for us? That's pretty good. Not bad. Okay.
Any update on Demko?
No. That's what I hope. Can you imagine a big trade happens or something right now, and he can't say anything on the show? Okay, over the weekend, some. Now let's get to some sports news very quickly. The Whitecaps, 0-0 draw Saturday night, BC Place. They finally returned to BC Place. Felt like forever. 0-0 draw. Now, okay, I thought they played really well. You thought they played horribly.
No, I didn't say that.
Before the show, you said
don't put words in my mouth. I said that it wasn't the most entertaining game.
It wasn't. You are right.
Scoreless. Okay.
Ryan Gauld.
Not that I have to have goals, but there wasn't a whole lot happening. I know Derek agrees with me.
Ryan Gauld off on international duty finally for Scotland. So he wasn't there. Brian Wright also out of the mix as well. Stuart Armstrong, who's the newest member of the Whitecaps, by the way, the Scottish player. He's in this graphic here. He only played like 6 minutes or something.
Right at the
end.
The
Whitecaps deserved a victory. Ryan Raposo was really good. They did play well. There was moments.
Two posts,
especially late. They almost scored in extra time to win it.
That part was good.
So I give the Caps props again, shorthanded, 0-0. They're back in action this Saturday night at BC Place again as they take on San Jose.
Now Rick's sulking.
The Earthquakes. No, he just can't do anything. That's the thing. Okay, one other soccer-related note I want to get in quickly. Over the weekend, and I want to bring this up because Taylor covered the last time this happened. For the first time since 1957, Canada beat the United States in American soil.
On American soil, not in it.
Well, both. They're technically in it. Their cleats go in the soil. It kind of counts. But it's on American soil.
Were they digging tunnels?
Jonathan David and Jacob Schaffelberg scored the 2 goals for Canada. But again, we didn't talk about this because we were off. Canada, 4th place at the Copa America tournament. Now this friendly. In the States, they beat the States. The United States has big problems in soccer, but we're not going to get into that. Jesse Marsh, after the game, he kind of threw a shot too.
Who's American,
said something about, I wouldn't want to coach anyone else right now. I think that was a bit of a shot at the Americans. But also, again, the Canadians kind of rolling. 4th place, decent showing at the Copa. Now they're back in action tomorrow night in Arlington.
They had to deal with DroneGate too.
Yeah, which we didn't talk about at the Olympics, which what a disaster that whole situation was. The women still, they did their best. They did what they could at the Olympics, but that was just
But now it's bled
ridiculous.
over to the men
yeah,
as well.
And of
John
course,
Herdman is getting accused of things that he may or may not.
Well, it definitely seemed like a program thing, not a coach thing. You know what I mean? I don't think it was one person. I think there was a lot of people allegedly involved in that. So anyway, good on Canada, 2-1, first time since 1957. Hopefully, his good pal, we showed it earlier, he had breakfast with him over the summer. Dollywall's good pal, Elliotte Friedman, going to join us for the first time of this new season from Las Vegas. Hockey Night in Canada insider Elliotte Friedman. He's up next. It's Donnie and Dolly, maybe with Rick next on the team on Check.
It is Monday. Rick's mic is working now, by the way, folks.
Yes.
It is Monday, and all of our guests today are brought to you by our friends at Passant Motors. We are back, and so is the Passant Motors Scholarship, bigger than ever, with $33,000 in scholarships awarded. Learn more at PassantMotors.com, BASANT Motors.com. Have we got Elliotte Friedman? Okay, we'll have him in 1 second. Meanwhile, Rick, you have an update when it comes to the late Johnny Gaudreau and his brother Matthew, the funeral going on today in Pennsylvania.
Yeah, the funeral is going on today, and I remember, Don, you called me the day this happened in the summer, and how shocked we were and how bad of an event this is. And a person can't even go out and drive his bike and just on a leisurely drive with his brother and not come home. We were all devastated. The hockey world is turning out today for Johnny Gaudreau's funeral, and his wife said at the funeral that she is expecting their third child as well. So she went on to talk about Sean Monahan in Calgary, how Sean was absolutely a vital part of Johnny Gaudreau's career in Calgary, to just paid homage to Sean Monahan. They were very close. But Donnie, just a very sad and tragic event. Very sad.
And Sean had signed with Columbus in large part because
big reason why was
Johnny
to play with Johnny.
Was there. So Johnny Gaudreau's wife announcing that she's pregnant. The same with Matthew. His wife also
is pregnant as well, which just makes it more frustrating
more
and maddening and heartbreaking and just very sad.
Got Elliotte? Still working on Elliotte. Elliotte from Hockey Night in Canada, 32 Thoughts podcast. Kyle Bukakis, we understand, is going to be the co-host of the 32 Thoughts podcast, taking over from Jeff Merrick.
Campbell River native, right here in your old stomping grounds, Campbell River, Donnie.
Mm-hmm. Got him? Got Elliotte?
Pride of Campbell River.
All right, Elliotte Friedman joining us from Las Vegas, Hockey Night in Canada, 32 Thoughts podcast. Elliotte, thanks for doing this, sir. How are you?
My pleasure. I didn't get the Zoom. It's all Ryan's fault. I'm blaming him, just so you know.
What a shock.
Well, trust me, that's the least of our worries today. We had an entire segment where Rick didn't have his mic on. Yeah. So this is nothing. Elliotte, I hate to start this way, but we just talked about a heartbreaking story getting more heartbreaking. That's the fact Johnny Gaudreau's wife has announced that she's pregnant with their third child. Elliotte, if we could put this, if you don't mind, into hockey terms, what will his legacy be when it comes to this? When it comes to the great game of hockey?
You know, it's still really hard to think about, to be perfectly honest, Donnie. Like he's still, like, at various points, you think that you're coming to grips with the fact that this has happened, but then something like this, like Meredith's announcement, comes, and it just makes you shake your head and feel the pain even more. You know, I think that. I think the tributes I've received from other people, like I knew Johnny Gaudreau, he was very friendly. We had a good relationship, but I wouldn't say I was particularly close with him as a lot of other people were. It's very clear he was a popular friend and he was a popular teammate. And in a lot of ways, I think the reason he appealed to people was he's kind of like not built as the ideal hockey player would be. The fact that he isn't some big, strong monster that just overpowered people. And he was, you know, someone who wasn't the biggest, was pretty slight, but found a way to become one of the best players in the NHL through pure will and skill. And, you know, there were a lot of good stories I heard from fans. Like one fan sent me a DM who just said that, you know, when Gaudreau showed up with the Flames, he was a guy who was not in a great spot in his life. And, you know, one of the things every time he started looking forward, he loved Gaudreau, watching Gaudreau play. It didn't take long. And, you know, it kind of helped him at a really tough point in his life where he would look forward to Flames games and watching Gaudreau, and that brought him joy. And I think there's a lot of stories like that. He obviously had a lot of great friends in the NHL, from Kevin Hayes to Sean Monahan to just about everybody, Erica Branson, who you guys know well. And, you know, there was a great story I was told, Donnie, earlier this summer. There's a young, an 09 born player in the States who was playing 2-on-2 with Goudreau. And, this is a guy who's got a chance to be a player. He's right now at one of those high schools, which is high-level hockey. He'll probably be playing for the national development team. And he was playing 2-on-2, and Goudreau was his teammate. And Goudreau kind of lifted his stick because he didn't think that this player would be able to find him with a pass where he was on the ice. And the player put it through, and Goudreau was surprised, but he recovered to score. And Goudreau walked over and skated over and said, I didn't think you'd be able to get me with that pass. That's a great pass. And someone else told me about the story, but the kid was just beaming that Johnny Gaudreau, I'm just looking up his name, the kid was just beaming that Johnny Gaudreau would say to him, wow, like, you have the skill to make that pass. I didn't necessarily think that you would be able to get it to me. And his name is Braden Scuderi. He's a 2009 born player. And I think that in addition to all the stories that we know and we can think of, there were a bunch of stories I got told from other people like that just really showed the impact he had.
Yeah, I think he had the ability, and it's rare to make people feel better about themselves. And God bless him and his family, Matthew, everybody. Tough turn, Elliotte. We'll take it. We haven't talked to you all summer, but $14 million a year for Leon Draisaitl in Edmonton. What does that say about where the Oilers and maybe the rest of the NHL think the salary cap is going?
Well, I think the one thing you have to remember, Don, is if you take a look at a lot of the top players, like a lot of the top guys, and Draisaitl's a top guy, they're about 15 to 16% of the salary cap. And I think Draisaitl's number comes in at 15.8. So it's not, although it looks high, and it's the highest number we have right now, if you take a look at where a lot of these contracts have been signed during their times, it's right there. The top players get between 15 and 16% of the salary cap, and Leon Draisaitl is a top player. Now, everybody here seems to be optimistic about where the cap is going. It went up 5% this year. Under the CBA, it's supposed to go up again 5% the next year, and then we'll see. And people are very optimistic. They are very, very optimistic. Now, I mean, the only thing is, and knock on wood, the Toronto Maple Leafs, when they did all their contracts with Tavares and Marner and Matthews, that was pre-COVID. And, COVID obviously changed the dynamic and really shut them down. And, I think you're hoping, and I think we're all hoping as a world, there's nothing like that ever again that does it. But as long as things continue to go as people are predicting and expecting, nobody will give me hard numbers. Like I've asked, are there hard number predictions out there? And nobody will give me those. But the one thing you see, Donnie, is that, the cap is lagging behind a bit right now because they had to pay back the owners from COVID. So I do think teams are very optimistic. I do think the agents and the players are very optimistic. Things appear to be very healthy. There's a new Canadian TV deal coming in 2 years, and I know the league is setting some pretty aggressive targets. So, if things keep going that way, I don't think it's going to be a problem.
All right, Elliotte, let's focus on Vancouver. Thatcher Demko, it's the number one story. It's been for weeks here, Elliotte. What are you hearing on Demko? When's he going to be ready? Camp, preseason, regular season? Give it to us.
So, Rick, do you want me to share the text you sent me before the show?
No, I don't. Keep that private, Elliotte. Keep it private.
Okay. Yeah, I don't release text messages like that. You never have to worry. Look, I think Demko, in a lot of ways, it reminds me a lot of the playoffs last year. And that is that nobody is really sure. I think anybody who sits here right now and says, I know what the exact timeline is either A, the doctor, or B, kidding everyone. I think that we're still kind of uncertain. Now, the one thing that I do believe the Canucks are not panicking that this is going to be half the season or threatens his season or anything like that. But I think there is an understanding that he may not be ready for the start of the year. And I think one of the things that everybody is getting a handle on here is and I'm always really careful about, somebody said to me, like, you're blaming Ian Clark for this. No, I'm not blaming Ian Clark for this, because I think Ian Clark is one of the best in the world at what he does, and he's one of the major reasons that Thatcher Demko was developed into who he is. But what I do think is the Canucks feel that Demko was working too hard, and they don't want him on ice doing drills as much as, and I think Demko kind of has been understood to agree with that rest is something he's going to have to do a bit more. Like, one of the things that happened last year going into the playoffs was the Canucks told Demko, we need you to start twice before the playoffs, or else we're just not sure we can count on you. So he rushed to get himself back, and I think everybody wonders if that contributed to the injury. Now, if you're the Canucks, can you blame them for saying that? No, you can't. If you're Demko, can you blame him for working as hard as he can and pushing himself to do that? No, you can't. So I do believe that in addition to the injury, there's also the plan of how do we work Demko so that he gets all the work he does that he needs to do to be a top goalie, continues to be as good as he can be, but also give him a break so he's not working as much as he was. Because I do think everybody here believes that workload was part of the issue. So I think they're not going to push him. I think the Canucks feel they're good enough that they can start the year if they have to without him, they have a good team. And then, but they don't appear worried, Rick, that this is going to be a long-term thing. Now, something I said on my podcast, had some people upset that he's going to have to learn to play through this, and that's a disaster. I don't necessarily believe that's the case, because I don't believe the injury is that serious, and I do think he can learn to play his way through it. But I think that's part of the issue here is he's going to have to learn to deal with whatever this is and play in a way or work out through it in a way that he can strengthen the area around it. I think the knee, I guess, strengthen the area around it and just make himself stronger around it. Like, I have heard this is not a devastating injury.
Elliotte, they still have that offer out to Lankinen. What do you see? Do you see another goalie coming in for training camp?
I do. I do think that the Canucks would like that. Number one, it increases competition.
Yeah.
Number two, Rick, it gives you a safety blanket. I think with Lankinen, I think one of the things you do when you're in his kind of situation is you kind of wait to see if something develops late. Is there another situation in the league that you think that maybe a goalie shows up injured or something happens where you think you have a better opportunity or could sign a better deal? So I don't think Lankinen is disinterested in the Canucks. I just think at this point in time, it behooves him to wait as long as he can or as long as he feels comfortable to see what opportunities are out there. But I do think you're going to look to go out and get someone else, whether it's PTO or a contract. The other thing about this too is that, Jim Rutherford's been around a long time, so he'll figure out how to deal with this. But you're always careful too if you bring in someone who would need waivers. You try to structure your contract or make sure that if you have to put them through waivers, it's at an opportune time where they're not going to be claimed. Like, one of the things the Maple Leafs did with Martin Jones last year was they put a bonus around the start of the season. So people who wouldn't want to pay that kind of a bonus, they just let him slide through on waivers, and he played really well for Toronto last year. So that's one of the things that the Canucks will be looking at too is, if we really think we need someone and they might be a third goalie, or, you have to structure things or prepare for things in a way that if you really need them, you don't lose them on waivers.
And very quickly, Elliotte, before we let you go, you're in Vegas. For people who don't know, what's happening in Nevada for you?
So, Donnie, there's the NHLPA media tour where one, or in some cases, like both Draisaitl and McDavid are coming from Edmonton. 2 players per team come, and when you guys when the fans out there watch the opens of games, and there's players skating and shooting the puck, they film that. So there's a two-parter of it here. One is filming the openings for places like us and ESPN and TNT, and the other is interviews with some of the rights holders and others who are around. So I'm out here doing some interviews with a bunch of players. It's a good group. Quinn Hughes is representing the Canucks. I saw he met with the media today, so he's going to hop on a plane either tonight or tomorrow to come out here and see us. And basically, it's one player per team, and it's one of my favorite times of the year because everyone's in a good mood and nobody hates us yet. So, I really enjoy that.
Yeah. Well, I didn't say this, but I hope you had a great summer. Back to work for you
too, guys.
And us. And, Elliotte, we can't thank you enough. You're back on board.
Well, you know what? In case anyone's not aware that the fee that we do for this, we graciously donate to the Canucks for Kids. And I'm happy to do that because, that's one of the things the Canucks do really well. So I'm happy to come on and get a little bit of Twitter hate if it means Canucks for Kids benefits from it. So it's all good.
Whatever it takes. Elliotte, thanks for doing this. Appreciate it. We'll talk to you in a couple of weeks.
All right, guys. Take care. Speak to you later.
Elliotte Friedman, one of our favorites, Hockey Night in Canada, 32 Thoughts podcast. People talking about in the Delaney's OK Tarn Langley inbox, they want me to mention Elliotte's hair. I don't make hair jokes, and there's a good reason why.
Yeah, but Elliotte,
he's got hair.
But he doesn't use gel. Like, gel is a very important, Donnie.
Yeah.
He doesn't use gel.
You have stock in several companies.
I just bought a new bottle of gel last night.
Good. We'll talk about that in the next segment and update the poll question. Donnie and Dolly, the team on check.
Donnie and Dolly, the team is supported by ableauctions.ca. Closing your business? We can help.
Waddling Dog poll question, an update. It has to do with the Canucks. Visit one of Victoria's favorite pubs, The Dog, where you can enjoy 20 taps, 20 screens. You're home for the Canucks and UFC. Come, sit, and stay at The Dog today. Rick.
All right, here we go. The Ryan, get her up. The Waddling Dog pub poll question is Thatcher Demko's durability, the Canucks' number one concern heading into the season. A whopping 90% say yes, almost 1,000 votes. And you just heard Elliotte Friedman. There was concern in the organization that Demko was being worked too hard. And, people are going to take their shots at Ian Clark and say that's Ian Clark. But it's a group effort. Ian Clark's not the only guy. There's trainers, there's doctors, there's a whole slew of them that come up with decisions on what to do with the player. But the Canucks, Elliotte says, we're concerned. Demko was working too hard. From here on in, he's going to have to get used to more rest. And that's the bottom line.
In the meantime, they've got Yuri Patera signed for 2 years. That's a two-way deal. And for people who didn't see the top of the show, going after or pursuing Kevin Lankinen and maybe Antti Ranta.
Those are two guys. They've got an offer out to Lankinen. He hasn't accepted. It's under $1 million, and he won't accept it. But Donnie, these guys that are UFAs now, there's a pressure point coming up training camp. Do you accept the lowball offer or do you go PTO? So PTO. So what do? There's a pressure point coming up, and it's called training camp. These guys got to make a decision. They might go back. Antti Ranta might say, I got nothing else. Maybe I take the Canucks PTO offer. He doesn't want that right now, but things change.
Pastime, and then we'll talk some BC Lions.
Oh, yeah, look at this. Looking for a gift for a sports fan? How about an addition to your man cave? Pastime Sports, the place to visit. Check out the largest selection of sports memorabilia, autographed items, trading cards, and collectible games in Western Canada. Visit one of 4 locations. You got Langley, Metrotown, Guildford Mall, the newly open location inside Capilano Mall in North. First day back. This is why you don't take 9 months off.
Well, at least your mic's on.
Yeah, at least the mic's on. If you can't visit them in store, you can't shop their massive collection online at pastimesports.ca, and follow them on Facebook and X for the latest info on card drops and in-store signings.
Laptop or...
So we don't have we've changed in front of the desk.
What do I say now?
We've got a lot of items
Desk.
in front of the desk now, some of which are from Pastime Sports, including the card right there. Thatcher Demko. That's the Thatcher Demko Fiji card.
It's like, where's Waldo? What am I looking at?
It's right in between the mug and the hat.
Okay. Yeah, but it doesn't stand out.
Well, what do you want? Some glowing,
card?
But
the card should stand out.
Color.
Well, I can't. Anyway. That's the Thatcher Demko Fiji card. We've talked about these before because they're the special cards that you could scan with your phone, and they'll provide you with Thatcher Demko highlights. And, hey, who knows with his health? They might be all the highlights we have of Thatcher Demko in a Canucks uniform. You never know. So anyway, and I should say, some of the other items, like I say, in front of the laptop, or in front of the desk, are from Pastime Sports. I went by the Langley location. It's like a museum in there. It's crazy how much stuff is in there. So head to Pastime in any of the 4 locations.
I'm getting some heat because people just assume it's me because it's lacrosse.
Oh, right.
Because of the Cablevision jersey.
What are you getting heat
in front of our desk? Well, guys from New
Salmon
West,
Bellies.
Salmon Bellies,
Yeah,
and
well.
people from the North Shore, and the hated Burnaby Cablevision back in the day. First of all, I love those jerseys, and I played Burnaby Minor, Norman Minor, but my late brother Dave played for Burnaby Cablevision, so a tribute to him. And you know what? I feel so bad I can't remember the name of the gentleman who gave me that jersey. It's not my brother's, but it is the team he played for.
So it's not either of yours? Actual jersey?
No.
Because I don't think it's been washed. Like, it smells. So I don't know how long we can have it.
So you had 9 weeks off and then we didn't wash it?
Well, I don't want it because it's like a relic. Look at it. I don't want it to,
Can you take it home? Do you think it would fall apart if we
That's
put
what
it
I'm
in
worried about. Yeah.
in a washing machine?
Because it's so old.
Okay, well, regardless, it means something to me and to a lot of people
It's a
out
very
there.
nice jersey.
I'm happy
as well.
to have it. I'm happy to have it on the desk.
But the Salmon Bellies logo,
Hey,
Donnie, is the best logo.
It's really good. Yeah.
And
you
the
are
color
right.
scheme for the Salmon Bellies, I'm not just saying
You're from New West.
That's Queens Park, New West, all those guys,
listen,
Sapperton.
let's say this, and you had your say, but let me say this: that if people want to send us items, we'll put them on the front desk.
Yeah.
Okay, hold
front
on.
of the
We have
desk.
to have some kind of cap. Like, I don't want, now you've thrown
Caps
that out
are good,
there.
too.
God knows what we're going to get in the mail.
Well, we want stuff
Or
with
Stu,
color.
for that matter, is going to get in the mail.
Well, I'm not, we want more color here. The
Yeah.
Salmon Bellies jersey. Wow,
A
that'd be
salmon.
great. Well, maybe not. Speaking of stinky,
That's a good point.
the Cablevision jersey doesn't smell.
I'm telling you, man.
What do you put it up to your nose?
I had it in my man cave for 9 weeks, and my man cave does not
Oh,
smell.
stop it.
Okay, I'm just saying.
Stop it. Okay, moving on here, and I people can find out our address and maybe send us some bobbleheads or souvenirs, whatever.
Again,
Do you think it's a mistake?
we need a
saying that?
vetting person. Somebody needs to intern.
Nothing
Nina,
that would get
it's
us in trouble.
Yeah, exactly.
You wanted to talk about the BC Lions. They play Toronto at BC Place on Friday.
Okay, first of all, the Lions got the attention of a lot of people when Nathan Rourke came back. But I want to say something about Vernon Adams. This guy took a pay cut. Before the season, Don, he was in our studio. And remember, he said, I took a pay cut so the so the Lions could get some guys under the salary cap. And he did the team a favor. I just want to say this guy's a pretty good guy. Nathan Rourke comes in, knocks him out of the starting job. They got the same agent. They're represented by the same agents. I mean, imagine being the agent, getting Nathan Rourke out of there into British Columbia, which obviously is going to push Vernon Adams to the side. I just want to give a shout-out to Vernon Adams. I think he's been pretty damn...
First class.
First class. And the Lions made a decision on the day they signed Nathan Rourke. They were not going to get rid of Vernon. Do I expect Vernon to be traded in the offseason? Yeah, I do. But right now, because Nathan's going to be making $750,000, $800,000 next year, Donnie, it's the right thing to do. Get him to a team where he can be the starter. But this guy, you talked about professional athletes losing their jobs and sulking and crying and bitching and moaning and whining. This guy didn't do that. I just wanted to give him a shout.
Well, I haven't spent a lot of time with him, but it's very clear that he's really a smart guy.
Yeah.
And Vernon's been around long enough that he knows that if he bitches and moans and whines,
That's right.
that might turn off some other people who might have a job waiting for him.
Yep, that's true.
Right?
That's a good point. That's a
And
really
the
good
Lions have
point.
to keep him around. They're hosting the Grey Cup as an insurance policy in case something happens injury-wise to Nathan. And you also wanted to give them a hats off for what happened to Victoria, which we talked about earlier.
Victoria, I thought Victoria did a super job. Look at this. What is that? Just visually, Don. When I watched on TSN, they had 18 cameras there. By the way, they took it seriously. This game TSN did, but just visually, it's just so nice. And you said it. It was so nice to watch it on TV. I thought Victoria did a
great event.
Bang up job. Great job by Victoria, the Lions, and that was the game. Nathan finally, became the old Nathan that we know. So I just thought
Lots of fun.
Yeah, lots of fun, and there's more coming, folks, because the World Cup of Soccer is going to kick the Lions out of BC Place in the future, so they're going to have to go somewhere else. So it's going to be interesting to see where they pick.
We're good, Ryan? DTMZ next. Donnie and Dolly, the team on check. Hey everyone, it's Donnie and Dolly, and we're looking to partner with your company.
We have several packages and price points to fit your budget, and spread the word about your company on the show in our podcast and on social media.
We'd love to get involved with your company. Call 250-880-2282 or email advertise@checkmedia.ca.
It's 11:34 on a Monday morning. It is now time for DTMZ, brought to you by the world-famous Whistler Golf Club. Go see Big Al out there. Great track, great track.
DTMZ brought to you by the Arnold Palmer Design Whistler Golf Club. And hats off to them again for hopping back on board, reminding golfers that exceptional conditions continue right through to Thanksgiving weekend. And if you have a group of 12 or more, you, the organizer, play for free. Tell us about your group at whistlergolf.com/groups. And like you said, hello to Big Al out there. Kendrick Lamar.
Can you move your laptop a little?
This way? Which way?
No, like away from the... No.
I can't see anything here.
How do you not?
This is our worst show.
Like
honestly.
at least Rick's
First
mic's
show.
on.
Yeah, okay. Now it's going to fall off the edge. Can I get back to reading this?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Kendrick Lamar. Rick.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Kendrick Lamar will headline the Super Bowl halftime show February 9th in New Orleans, Louisiana. The NFL, I don't know why I went into Howard Cosell there. The NFL, Apple Music, and Rock Nation made the announcement Sunday. Lamar, the rap megastar, he's won 17 Grammys, Rick. 17!
Oh, man.
He says he's looking forward to bringing hip-hop to the NFL's championship game. Haven't we already seen hip-hop?
3 years ago.
Where he,
in LA.
where he performed in 2022 as a guest artist. Remember, he was with Dr. Dre
all
and,
those
and
guys.
Snoop and Eminem, 50 Cent. He's won, as I mentioned, 17 Grammy Awards, and in 2018 became the first non-classical, non-jazz musician to win a Pulitzer Prize.
Wow.
His most recent album, Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers, was released in May 2020. It's a big name, May 2022. Earlier this year, Super Bowl 58, that halftime show, I didn't know this, with Usher, became the most watched halftime performance of all time and collected 3 Emmy nominations. Yeah. Put that in your pipe and smoke it. Kendrick Lamar. Now, my knowledge of his work is pretty limited. In fact, it's zero. But this is a big, big name. This just in. I say this all the time. Old guy from Canada. I'm not the target audience.
I don't know this guy. I don't know his music. I don't know any of the songs. I'm not that type of guy that rap stuff. Why can't
I wish you were.
No, why can't they bring in Bruce Springsteen, John Cougar, AC/DC, stuff like that? Then it gets me excited. I'm not going to stay. I'm not going to watch the halftime show. There's not a chance in hell.
But the NFL's figured it out, and they did this a long time ago where, the hardcores, the football fans,
the young kids
that might like what the kids call rock and roll, they're going to watch the game anyway. Mm-hmm. This way you get people who might be at a Super Bowl party, might not be watching the game, but they'll watch the halftime show and up their audience. It's quite brilliant. I agree with you. I'd rather see those acts too.
Yeah,
but,
you know what?
Get their time. Springsteen did a game.
Oh, Bruce would be great. But these guys, they're trying to get the young audience, Donnie. They're not trying to get guys like you and I.
There you go. How are we doing?
Birthdays.
I got to keep asking you that because it's our first show back.
You're very out of rhythm. Yeah.
9 weeks, or as I said earlier, 9 months. Mm-hmm. It seemed like it.
Yeah.
Okay, September 9th. Birthdays. We have 9 birthdays. The line is set at 6 by Sharp Elbows Dimitri and his Reptile Funhouse in Troutdale, Oregon.
Sharp.
Okay, hold on.
Say it again. Slowly, though.
Yeah.
Sharp Elbows Dimitri and his Reptile
Sharp
Funhouse.
Elbows Dimitri.
Yes, in Troutdale, Oregon.
Okay, so again, if anybody wants to do up some artwork for that.
For Dimitri?
Whether Pete in Calgary or Island Joe, who we haven't heard from in a while, please send it in.
Did you ever get those guys a package of merchandise?
Both of them, yeah.
The hats.
But
you got those guys in Victoria hats.
Island Joe is just, I don't know. Something was said and made him mad, I think.
Has he been negotiating with the higher-ups?
Maybe, yeah.
Okay, September 9th, rock and roll. Canadian singer-songwriter from North Burnaby. Winner of 5 Grammys, 15 Junos. Part owner of the Vancouver Giants.
Michael Bublé.
Devils defenseman. Drafted 4th overall by New Jersey in 2021. His brothers Quinn and Jack also playing in the NHL. I got to have a first name.
Luke Hughes.
Luke.
Swedish defenseman drafted 13th overall by the Canucks in '94. He spent 11 solid seasons in Vancouver. Yeah. Longtime Coyotes defenseman from Boston. Second to Phil Kessel on the NHL's all-time list of consecutive games played. Also played for the Rangers, Panthers, and Flyers.
Keith Yandel?
Keith Yandel.
Wow.
American actor and comedian, former SNL cast member, played the title roles in Billy Madison and Happy Gilmore.
Adam Sandler.
Late American businessman born in 1890 in Indiana. Founder of Kentucky Fried Chicken.
Colonel Sanders.
There you go. Colonel Harlan Sanders. See, you were looking at me like, what? 1890, who's that? And then, boom, you got it.
He was a childhood friend of yours.
Brian, the old jokes, you tried one earlier, it didn't work. Maybe move on from those, all right? Good-looking goatee, though.
It was.
Colonel.
It was.
KFC once every 3 months, 6 months is really good.
The coleslaw there. The coleslaw's good.
Coleslaw.
Or whatever. Get that stuff's good. I like that.
Yeah. You like it, you just don't know what it is. KFC, I don't do chicken with the bones in. I don't.
So you prefer chicken strips or...
Yeah.
Popcorn chicken is one of the greatest inventions of all time.
English actor, starred in 4 Weddings and a Funeral, Notting Hill, played the Prime Minister...
Hugh Grant?
Yes. Divine Brown was my next clue.
Yeah.
You remember that, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Actor born in Kansas, played Cam Tucker on Modern Family.
Oh, hold on here.
E.S.
Yeah, it's Eric Stone Street. Massive Kansas City Chiefs fan.
Yeah. Yeah, he knew Colonel Sanders. Late American singer-songwriter. He's born in Kansas. Oh, Kansas, not Kentucky. Same area. Is it?
Just move on.
Late American singer-songwriter. He co-wrote and sang, Rick, this is in your neighborhood, Sitting on the Dock of the Bay.
Oh, Otis Redding.
There you go.
Are you kidding me? What a great song.
It really is.
I thought you were going to call him a good guy for a second.
I don't know Otis Redding well enough to call him a good guy.
What's next? Is It Just Me is coming up next.
Man, you were just...
Well, it's our first day back, Ryan.
I'm going to go through this as the week goes on. At some point during this week, I'm going to talk about, it wasn't just about Europe.
Yeah.
Yes.
There's a lot going on in the Taylor household.
Oh, yes,
right?
yes.
Yeah. I'll give you the ins and outs. Michael Bublé, 49 years old, and he's going to play us out. Our friend.
Yeah.
Friend of the show.
Great guy.
And I love his version of this tune.
Doesn't get enough love.
What?
This does not get enough enough love.
Yeah, I
Everyone
agree.
thinks how haven't
Home
met you yet.
yeah.
Home.
Spicy Margarita.
Yeah, with Derulo.
Yeah. From the year 2001, the debut album Babalu and the Spider-Man 2 soundtrack, this is Michael and the theme from Spider-Man on Check. Catching thieves just like flies on a BC Monday morning. Is It Just Me? It's next.
Spider-Man, Spider-Man.
The Waddling Dog Pub has been owned and operated locally since 1991 and has since built its reputation as one of Victoria's favorite watering holes. With 20 TVs, 20 local and domestic taps, and over 200 seats, the Waddling Dog has something for everyone, including every Canucks game, UFC pay-per-views, and an unbeatable daily happy hour from 4 to 6. The Dog is your one-stop shop with its attached cold beer and wine store, offering up hundreds of local and imported products as well as an extensive inventory of Donnie and Dolly merchandise. Their award-winning hotel offers dog-friendly hotel rooms that are appointed with antique-style furnishings and modern amenities and only 10 minutes from the airport and ferry terminal. There are countless reasons to come, sit, and stay at the Waddling Dog. All right, show is winding down. Time for Is It Just Me? Rick, what do you got?
All right, is it just me? I know it's a long summer, but Seelov's won that series. DeSmith was hurt as well. He never got back in. DeSmith also melted down after the game in Minnesota. Orange in Evan. But the Canucks made a mistake not re-signing DeSmith, Orange in Evan, because now they're right in the same spot, Don, going after Lankinen, offering him a contract. If they would have just signed Casey DeSmith, they went at him just before the July 1st. did not make a very good offer, and it didn't get done. The fact they went after DeSmith before July 1st tells me they wanted him back, but they don't want to pay a ton of money for the backup position.
But, Rick, wasn't the timing as such that the urgency wasn't there when it comes to Demko's health, right?
Not at that time.
Well, at the time, they thought he was recovering well.
Yep.
Again, we're going to find out more when the training camp physicals come out.
That's the big one for me,
right?
Is on day one.
But there's more urgency now than there was initially.
Yeah. Yeah, they're still after Lankinen. I'm telling you right now, the offer is out there for him.
There's a chance to be. A lot of people have mentioned this, and Delaney's okay. Taron Langley inbox. Too many goalies, maybe.
Well, if they sign another one, you know they're going to have 3 in Abbotsford, and they already got a young draft pick that's supposed to play in the East Coast Hockey League, so it's going to get crowded.
Garth and Ladd, or is it just me, or is Donnie bang on about Euro shaming? People don't realize, for people our age, it took a train trip across Canada and then a steamship across the Atlantic. Rick should be shamed for liking Toronto so much. And Garth, I'm not that old, but
I've been in Toronto back-to-back summers. I'm not going to lie.
And then you've got that in fact, you've got a Blue Jays jersey and a Blue Jays golf shirt. I think there's something here, Rick.
I like the Blue Jays because growing up in the 80s, that's it.
You had a Leafs hat on when I golfed with you last time?
Anyways, I'm starting to like Toronto. I'm not going to lie to you.
Go.
Demko's durability is definitely a concern, so it's an imperative that they can land a backup goalie. And again, Don, so let's say at Christmas time, Demko's out, and we don't want this to happen, but he's out 4 to 5 weeks. Are you telling me that you're remember Spencer Martin, the $750,000?
Yeah,
it didn't work out.
He's going to be the backup.
So do you want to pay another backup $800,000, and then you're gonna cry because he's not a solid backup like Casey DeSmith was?
Is it just me from Phil? But when are we going to discuss the color of the seats at Rogers Arena? Do we have a seat update, Ryan? I believe things aren't progressing like they should be.
People tell me I'm too negative. I got to stop. So all I'll say is I was at Kings of Leon a couple weeks ago, and those crap seats are still sitting there. We're pushing 30 years, same seats. Season ticket orders getting jacked up 20%.
But they've improved 3 or 4 of them, haven't they?
They've improved 5 rows where Francesco and all his rich buddies can sit. Yeah, those are taken care of. No problem.
Here's my problem with you. First of all, you don't go to Canuck games. That's one. 2, Donnie and I have been watching the Canucks since 1970s. Mm-hmm. We want to see a Stanley Cup, and your biggest complaint is the seats.
Because they're literally falling apart. My Kings of Leon seat.
You watch the games from home.
But I go to enough concerts. I'm in that building way more than you are. It's bad. And plus, again, when you're going to a season ticket order and going, we would like 20% more of your money. The season ticket order goes, okay, what am I getting out of that? One of the things they were told is brand new seats in that building.
But you're not a season ticket holder, and you don't go to the game, so you're complaining more than the season ticket holder.
But you should care about those season ticket holders. I care about the people. You do not.
No, stop it.
Well, you see, the problem is, and we've talked about this before, is that Rick and I come from the be happy with the wooden bench era.
Yeah, and yes,
at Empire Stadium.
Every time I have to explain to you two that your tickets were $3.75 when you were doing that.
Irrelevant. It's irrelevant.
The Leafs tickets. It's. I think the cheapest ticket to go see the Leafs Canucks in the regular season is like $350. No, here.
Here. Okay.
Here.
I thought you meant the Leaf seats.
Like, tickets have never been more expensive, and they want you to sit on these things that are 30 years old. You've had millions of people go through the arena. It's gross. It's disgusting.
To me, it's there. Some aspect of your argument, I agree
aspect?
with. Yeah.
Get it?
Okay, just stop it. Okay,
that's weak.
You know what? You're off today as well. Okay, but I'm there to see the sporting event or the concert.
Yeah, all right,
that's
that's what I focus on.
Hey, and these people that went to watch the Lions in Victoria, did you see one tweet of anybody in Victoria complaining about the seats?
Yeah, you know what?
No,
because Amar Doman makes his tickets a reasonable cost.
You're the only guy I know that complains about the seats.
We got to move on. I'm sure we'll have this argument tomorrow and the next day and the day after. Day after.
Empire Stadium.
Update the poll question and wrap up the show next. Donnie Dolly, the team on check.
Able Auction specializes in helping British Columbia-based business owners close their business and sell their assets in a timely, orderly manner.
Online events for everything from machine shop and manufacturing auctions to industrial equipment, retail inventories. or any other type of business assets, Able Auctions can help.
For a free confidential consultation on getting your business assets sold, please email sales@ableauctions.ca. That's sales@ablaauctions.ca.
Let's wrap her up, at least the TV portion of the Waddling Dog poll question. Rick, it has to do with the Canucks, who are out at Northview today for the annual Jake Milford tournament.
Yeah, the Jake Milford golf tournament signifies the season is not far away. Our Waddling Dog pop poll question is Thatcher Demko's durability the Canucks' number one concern heading into the season. 1,000 votes. And, a lot of people are concerned with Demko. There's no question about it. 90% say yes. Training camp is, as you mentioned, around the corner. Day one, we'll see how active he is. We'll see if he's with the main goalies or he's before the other goalies get on the ice. We'll find out.
October 9th versus Calgary at Rogers Arena. That's the regular season opener.
And we'll find out.
Just around a month from today.
Yeah, a month from today.
I just figured that out.
Hockey season is upon us.
You've got some pictures.
I got for first, my buddy Val in Richmond wishing my wife Nikki a very happy wedding anniversary today.
Your wife Nikki?
No, I'm reading the. No, let me redo this. Val in Richmond is wishing his wife Nikki a very happy wedding anniversary, and he's very happy that we're doing it on.
Awesome! Congrats.
Yeah. So there you go, good guy. Just absolutely.
Have you got to read first? Has he got to read first? No. Okay. Pictures.
Okay. Where are we going?
We
Ryan.
are a well-oiled machine.
Oh, look at this! Look at this! This is Cam. At the Lions game in Calgary in July.
Did the whole province go to that game?
So there's Cal looking great. Donnie and Dolly hat, the bucket hat.
In July?
In Calgary. In Calgary. Not the Victoria game.
Okay.
Well, that's the one they lost by Donnie 1 point.
Yeah.
That started their 5-game losing skid, is that game in
My
Calgary.
apologies.
Yeah, but Cam, thanks a lot,
fault.
Cam, thinking of us in Calgary. Where are we going now?
I don't have the name.
Go to the bottom. I got it.
This one first?
Yeah, this guy. I like him. I look grumpy, but the shirt arrived. I went to get a few hot dog treats yesterday, and some guys say, hey, I love your shirt. He's a big Powell River CHQB. Remember, Donnie, the radio station in Powell?
I never worked there. I'm sure you did.
I worked at CHQB.
You did not work there.
Oh, my goodness. Right off a little shack, right off the ferry. And it was the smallest radio station you've ever been to, Don. But I worked there absolutely.
Paying your dues.
What's his name?
I can't remember. It's not here. No, he didn't put his name there.
You know it. You've got it right.
I don't know.
No, the name's not there. But a great picture. Thanks a lot.
Okay. We'll be better tomorrow. We promise. 9 weeks off, and it shows. All right. Who's joining us tomorrow? Craig Button is going to be with us tomorrow, and Ian Furness, among other items. Thanks so much for tuning in, folks. On behalf of Ryan, Derek, Rick, everybody here at Oh Boy and Check, I'm Don, and you're up to date in the world of sports.
Thanks for listening to the Donnie and Dolly podcast. Be sure to follow us on Twitter at Donnie and Dolly for all the latest show content.